All right, ladies and gentlemen, folks, 1 year ago, I sat behind this microphone and I said, did that rhyme? And I said, the Atlanta Falcons will win at least 10 football games. They'll probably win 11 or 12, but we'll call it 10. Unfortunately, obviously, that did not come to fruition, and it wasn't because of their best one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. It wasn't because one of their best running back tandems in the NFL, and it wasn't because they have two of the most underrated skill players in Kyle Pitts and Drake London. It also wasn't because of their above average defense that's just lacking, I guess, I'm using air quotes here, household names. No, obviously it was because of the quarterback situation. And, this year is completely different. And folks, you're set up in the short term with Kirk Cousins and you're set up in the long term with Michael Penix Jr. There is one thing I want to see the Atlanta Falcons do this upcoming season, and that's literally just make the playoffs. It has been way too long since the Atlanta Falcons have made the playoffs. It has been way too long since they have won the division, and it simply comes down to not having a consistent, reliable quarterback. Well, now you have Kirk Cousins, one of the most consistent, reliable quarterbacks in the National Football League. And now you got young gun Mr. Michael Penix Jr. backing him up. So, this is, and obviously, no Arthur Smith, completely revamped coaching room. So welcome back to the channel. Obviously, we're talking about the Atlanta Falcons in tonight's video. But before we do, if you guys enjoyed, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. I haven't made a Falcons video in way too long. I do apologize on that. This year is going to be awesome. I remember not 1 year ago, but I remember 11 months ago, I was going to the Packers-Bears was week 1, right? Yeah, I was going to Packers-Bears at Soldier Field last year. I'm a Packers fan. And they didn't start their game till 3:30. It was the game of the week or whatever. And so I'm sitting here, and the Falcons, like I just said, were one of the teams I was extremely big on because I thought Desmond Ridder would be able to do it at least enough to get this team to win in the division, to get them to at least a 10-win season. Because, once again, I look at their best offensive line in the league. I look at their first-round pick in Bijan Robinson. I look at Drake London, Kyle Pitts. There's talent littered all across their roster, especially on the offensive side. And I remember watching them play, I think it was Carolina, in week 1 while I'm waiting for this Packers-Bears game to start. And all the way up until the fourth quarter, I think it was, this was a horrible game. It was 24-10 at home. Falcons win. Going into the fourth quarter, the score was 10-10. And I just remember sitting, you know what? I might be wrong there. So obviously, folks, this is a completely revamped Falcons room, whether it's due to the quarterback or whether it's due to your new head coach, your new offensive coordinator, and all that fun stuff. But once again, folks, I just want to see this team get back to some sort of relevancy because there's just way too many freaking talented players on this offensive side of things. Now, I get it. Defensively, there's still a bunch of holes. Cornerback room, another edge rusher. I get it, but it's still a work in progress. And once again, I just want to see them make the playoffs, all right? And we can talk about Super Bowls and we can talk about playoff wins once we get there. But ultimately, one of the reasons I'm making this video is because I saw NFL teams set up for a disastrous start to the 2024 season, and the Atlanta Falcons were there. And I just kind of want to go through this and get my thoughts on it. So let's run through it. This was from Bleacher Report, by the way. The buzz is palpable in Atlanta over a very aggressive offseason. The Falcons hired Raheem Morris to replace Arthur Smith, signed Kirk Cousins, drafted Michael Penix Jr. There are legitimate reasons to be excited about the offense. They probably have the most improved quarterback situation in the league. Zach Robinson is coming over from the Los Angeles Rams to be the offensive coordinator, but there might be reason to temper expectations at the beginning of the season. Cousins and Robinson should both have a lot of say in the offense. While they are both familiar with the offshoots of the Sean McVay offensive tree, it's always a process to blend two different perspectives. Add in the fact that Cousins is recovering from the torn Achilles that ended his season in week 8. There are bound to be kinks to work out. The defenses they'll see in the first 3 weeks will shrink the margin for error early in the season, though. They kick off the season with the Pittsburgh Steelers at home before traveling to Philadelphia to see the Eagles in week 3 and going back to Atlanta to see the Chiefs and the Saints. That is a pretty difficult first 4 games. The Steelers have their own offensive woes to work out on their own, but Pittsburgh, Kansas City, and New Orleans were all top 8 in EPA, defensive EPA allowed per play last season. The Eagles' treacherous finish to the season kept them off that list, but they have made a lot more changes in their secondary, brought in Vic Fangio to fix their defense. The Atlanta Falcons don't hit the ground running offensively. They could be in for a disappointing start. All right, so I guess that article literally was what it was titled, just a disastrous start. If we're worrying about schedule, I wouldn't worry about schedule in the slightest. I want to say the Falcons had the easiest schedule in the NFL last year. I think that was a big reason why I had them winning at least 10 games last season. The whole thing with schedules is, first off, folks, camp hasn't even begun. I guess the Chiefs are in camp out of that list, but that was just rookies and a couple of quarterbacks. Players unfortunately get injured all the time in training camp. Players unfortunately get injured all the time in preseason. We have yet to see Kirk Cousins even play a snap in an Atlanta Falcons uniform in live action reps, and that's going to happen soon in preseason. But you can't be sitting here worried about defenses you're going up against. But once again, this article, I guess we're just taking it a little bit too at face value here. You've got Pittsburgh, Philly, Chiefs, and Saints. I don't think a soul on earth is worried about the Saints and their top 8th EPA allowed per play defense. Pittsburgh's offense, question marks. Kansas City shouldn't have Rashee Rice. Philadelphia struggled last year. I mean, if Atlanta could start this season even just 2-2, I would take that any day of the week. But I do just want to say, that was a kind of stupid article. I apologize. Anyways, I do just want to say, because I was reading something from CBS Sports where they were listing under the radar players to watch. So CBS Sports released a list of 50 under the radar players who could shape the NFL season in 2024. And I was shocked because I saw 2 Falcons players in that top 50, Darnell Mooney, 10th, and Rondale Moore, 11th. And here was what Zachary Pareles had to say. Atlanta's 2 biggest wide receiver free agent signings couldn't be much more different, and the fact that they both make this list speaks volumes to Atlanta's limited depth at wide receiver. Mooney, primarily a deep threat, had a career low 31 catches last season. Since entering the league in 2021, Moore has the 5th highest yards after catch per reception in the NFL, but he's pretty much exclusively an underneath option, and he has struggled mightily with injuries. So really quickly, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier, outside of that, there does get a little bit less consistency. And that's why he traded for Rondale Moore, and that's why he brought in Darnell Mooney. There are players a little bit even deeper, Ray McLeod. One player I'm extremely excited to see how he translates, if it's going to be immediate, is 6th-round draft pick out of University of Illinois in Casey Washington. Mooney's really intriguing to me because when he first came into the NFL, the dude was a freaking stud. He was with the Chicago Bears, had over 1,000 yards in 2021, and he had 907 combined yards the year after that. So, or the last 2 years after that. So it's like Darnell came out of the gates running greatly, and then the last 2 years have been underwhelming. But they did bring in DJ Moore. I gotta say, I'm from Chicago. I have a Chicago Bears family, even though I'm a Packers fan. The offense was a mess outside of DJ Moore and Cole Kmet. That's just like, if I could just sum up the Bears offense last year, it sucked. It was inconsistent outside of DJ Moore and Cole Kmet. So Darnell Mooney, Rondale Moore, 2 players to keep an eye on. We'll be covering training camp once you guys begin or report on Wednesday. So thank you guys for watching. Hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. And guys, give me a loose prediction as it stands right now. How many Falcon wins are we going to see this upcoming season? Peace.